Welcome to the Positively You podcast. I'm your host, Jessie Larson, and I'm passionate about helping you shift the way you think so you can create a life you're absolutely obsessed with. Each week, I'll be bringing you a guest or a thought that's going to help you feel more optimistic and equipped to take real action. Get ready to push past limiting beliefs, ditch that negativity, and start showing up as the best and most positive version of you. Girl, let's do this. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Positively You podcast. Today, I am joined by an absolutely incredible woman. She is so beautiful inside and out. And that's actually what we're going to talk about today is the idea of beauty and how we all deserve to feel beautiful and what that can do for us in our life. So I'm so excited to jump into this conversation. I have Pualei Lynn on with us today, and I'm just going to let you give a quick little introduction about who you are and what you love doing.
Great. Okay. I am Pualei Lynn. I am a fashion stylist and image consultant. I have a boutique space here where I'm here right now, and event space for women. And really my focus truly is to bring women to their true selves. I say I'm here to hold a divine mirror up to your eternal beauty. So I'm here to I'm here to help women see themselves clearly and truthfully. And by that, I mean helping women to recognize their divinity, the divine within themselves, and the beauty in themselves. And I believe that I know that women are here. Part of our purpose here in this world is to bring beauty to the world. If you're a woman and you are here in this world, you are beautiful. It is your purpose, and it goes without saying. You are intrinsically beautiful. Just like a flower is a flower, we don't have to tell a flower it's a flower. It just blooms. A woman, we don't need to have anyone else tell us we're a woman, as a woman, that we're beautiful.
We just are.
We just are. We are. And we are meant to bring that divine feminine beauty, that divine feminine energy to the world. It is our purpose. And I say this all the time. I joke that there are so many men actually would not want to be here if women were not here.
Yeah.
Think about that, and yeah. And it's our energy. And I learned this, I went to a workshop about feminine energy, and something that I learned there is that there's a quality that women have. It's radiance that men do not have. Radiance is strictly a female feminine attribute and quality that we inherently possess. And so so many women are pouring from an empty cup. They're not attuned to their own beauty. We attune ourselves to everyone else's beauty. We see everyone else's beauty, but we downgrade our own. We don't recognize our own. We don't build ourselves up. We focus that all outwards.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, if you're listening, just even right now, you're like, I feel it. I feel it so deeply. And so, Pualei, that is like your gift. Every time that I have been with you or in your presence or even just listening to you, immediately I can feel that beauty of myself. Like you just have to speak one little sentence and all of a sudden I can shift my perspective a little bit and be like, you're right. Oh my gosh, I do. Just like that analogy with a flower. I am a huge analogy nerd. Everyone who listens to this podcast knows that I'm always trying to relate things. That is such a beautiful analogy. And if you can just think about that for today, right? That I am just like a flower. And just like flowers, there are so many different kinds. I was actually out trying to pick a bunch for my garden earlier this week of what I wanted to plant in. And I was almost overwhelmed with how many different choices I had. And it wasn't that one was more beautiful than the other. They just all were different. And I think that that's beautiful too. And I love that they're not looking at the other one and thinking, well, that one's a taller one. That one, I'm a ground cover flower. This one's a tall, like thriller flower. They're all beautiful and they all add such radiance, like you said, that's a quality that we have. So I love that analogy so much. And if I can just even shift into that thinking just for a quick second, maybe once a day, what that alone would change for my mindset and my mental health and the way that I view myself.
Yeah, beautiful. I love how you put that, and yeah, pointing out that all flowers, when you think of a flower, you think of beauty.
Hmm.
Yeah, and like, yeah,
Absolutely.
and all the varieties. You would never call a flower not pretty, or you never call a flower ugly. They're all beautiful and different, and yeah,
Yes. I
yeah.
love what you said too about that we're quick to see that beauty in other people.
Hmm.
And where it's very easy to admire or to compliment or even just acknowledge that beauty in others. But for some reason, it's so uncomfortable for us to do that to ourselves.
Hmm.
When you're working with women and you're on this mission to help us to all see that and to feel that, what is
Hmm.
some of the resistance that you feel when it comes to acknowledging and embracing our own beauty?
Yeah, so many women have all these beliefs. So they've the whole time been focusing on what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
And so I'll start working with the woman and sort of begin to ask her, and it begins with the process of, how do you speak to yourself? How do you think of yourself? How do you see yourself? And so we so focus on the things that we don't like rather than looking for the things that we like. And we do this in general because
Mhm.
we've been conditioned to believe we're not good enough. We've been conditioned to believe that we have to prove ourselves and that we're already starting out like in the down,
Yeah. Yep.
and that we have to earn our way for some reason to feel beautiful, to feel worthy, to feel that we can have a place, take up space in this world. And so we're starting from a deficit in so many ways. And so women, so it begins with a process of just really asking. Some women haven't even thought about what is my favorite physical feature about myself.
Hmm.
Some women haven't even thought about even just the internal qualities they have that they love about themselves,
Yeah.
and it's very
Yes.
hard. And it's so hard to even sometimes get women to even recognize, and then I'll dig further. Okay, so what's another thing that you love about yourself and why?
Mm,
Why do you love your eyes? Why do you love your hair?
yeah.
Let's
Which is
start
so
from.
crazy because if you were to ask someone what they didn't like about themselves, they would be
Oh,
so quick
so
to
quick.
answer.
Mhm,
So quick to answer. And
mhm,
I like what you said about we're starting at a deficit. And sometimes when we're starting at a deficit, that can be a huge jump to jump all the way up to positivity and all the way up to, okay, shifting from I don't like this about myself to this is what I love about myself. Even
mhm,
if you can get to just like a place of neutral. So you're no longer in a deficit, but you're not like trying to jump to the roof, right? You're just at least trying
mhm,
to take a couple of steps up. And I love that that's what you're doing is you're just like, what can let's pick one thing. Let's just baby
mhm.
step ourselves up here. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and then, and it's always a process, but I remember doing an exercise, in at Elevate in my women's group. And I put up a list of words, and they actually were all synonyms for the word beautiful.
Mm,
So there are things like sparkly, alluring, charming, delightful, all these different definitions. And I asked the women, I said, pick one, pick at least one that you know describes you. And none of them wanted to pick a word. They all
really?
felt like all of those words were outside of them. They were far away, that they were
Mm,
not for them. They didn't think, oh, I can be alluring. I can be delightful. I can be sparkling. And finally, one of the women spoke up and she said, well, the word that I'm drawn to is sparkly. She's like, but I just feel like I can't own that. I can't, how can I say that I'm sparkling and sparkly? And I turn to her, and this woman she has super long hair. She has all boys. She, on the underside of her hair, she will color rainbow. She
Ooh,
does all rainbow colors, right? She always has her makeup done in fun colors when she comes to our meetings. She always has her gel nails done, and so I pointed
yeah.
out to him, I said, well, let's take a second. I said, you're feeling drawn to this word because I said, look at your hair, look at your makeup, look at your nails. I said, how can you be anything but sparkly? You are
Yes.
sparkly, you know?
Yes.
So
And it's
like,
almost like she feels that deep inside,
mhm,
and then it manifests itself out through the
mhm,
coloring of the hair and the makeup.
mhm.
And I think that that's so interesting that that's hard to own and
Yes,
to place on you, but it was already there. Like it
already
was
there.
already so true.
Mhm.
Wow,
Right.
what a cool example.
Yeah, but she just wouldn't, she just thought, oh, I'm being vain to own that.
Mm,
I'm being egotistic to own that, rather
yep.
than looking at it as like, no, this is truth. God wants us to recognize those things about ourselves.
Yes.
Our creator universe wants us to be sparkly, wants us to recognize how beautiful and amazing we are. And why do we deprive ourselves from owning those parts of ourselves, from recognizing that and knowing it? Because when we embrace that, we show up that way for everyone else. We
Absolutely.
show up. Yeah, and this is why we do this work, so that we can show up. It's taking care of me so I can show up for the we,
Yes.
for the bigger
It's
purpose.
so interesting that that hard like gap to get past between, because right, that example, she felt that deep inside and she was already doing things to express that sparkly feeling and that sparkly
Mhm,
personality, but somehow being able to own that and claim that feels not just like uneasy, that
mhm,
because you've like lived in like this negative and you're not ready to claim that, but almost like this vanity thing, like
mhm.
it's, oh, I don't want to use the
Like,
word
oh, who
evil,
else
but
did
it's
it? She's
yes,
sparkly. Yep. Yep. And we
yes,
hear judgment from others for
absolutely. And
being.
so
Yep.
how have you seen people kind of bridge that and leap over that fear of feeling vain or vanity? Because I do think that there is, there can be some toxicity with the
Mhm.
beauty industry and with trying to
Yeah.
fix and cover up all of these flaws and all of the things that make us uniquely ourselves and human, honestly. So how do we get past feeling if it's vain versus it's me embracing my unique beauty and my unique feelings and vibes that I put out into the world?
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's a great question. And so I think for me, the way that you can know is, I think that vanity lives in ego.
Yeah.
And when you intrinsically know, it's internal reference, it's self-reference, it's true self-reference. So it's building that to know innately for yourself. And then as Deepak Sherpa puts it, it's knowing your worth, but being humble.
Hmm.
So recognizing that, and because if you're an ego, you're an object referral. So it's other people, you needing other people to tell you that you're beautiful. You
Yes.
needing other people to tell you that you're sparkly. But if you know intrinsically, you don't need anyone else to tell you that. And so you're not operating from vanity. You're operating from truth. And so
Ooh.
it's, you're operating from truth, not vanity. Vanity is still seeking. There's kind of a it's it's really it's externally based.
Yep. I love that you're operating from truth, because when you can get to that point, it will feel true. You will feel a shift in you
Mhm,
knowing, and it might still feel uncomfortable. It's not saying that all of a sudden that
mhm,
uncomfortable feeling is gone. That's why it's called work, right? That's why doing all of
mhm,
this is called work, because it's a lot of self-awareness, it's a lot of self-reflection, but it's
mhm,
so worth it. And you will feel that little bit of, oh, I am sparkly, or whatever like adjective you want to
mhm.
grab onto you, that
Yeah,
will feel true. And I love that you said that.
yeah. Thank you. We get to choose. And so what are we going to learn about ourselves? We focus so much on the sides we want to improve on and make better. but we don't focus on all of the parts that are so beautiful and so true and so there, and like you said, it's a constant work,
Yep.
of uncovering and getting to our Davids, getting, chipping away. And I share this a lot. Michelangelo shared when he was asked how he created the David, and he
Mhm.
said it was easy. I just chipped away everything that wasn't him. And so we've had all these things placed on us. So just chip away. And that was chipping away for her, getting to her sparkle, to know she's sparkly. And the thing is, when you know this about yourself, truly intrinsically, this truth, you want everyone else to know it. And when you can see it in yourself, you can see it in everyone else. And that's the thing, is any quality that you develop in yourself, that you recognize within yourself and you develop, the beautiful thing is you get to experience it so much more from everyone else, because you've deepened your understanding of that virtue and that attribute and that part of yourself.
Yes.
And so you're so much quicker to recognize it anywhere else that you experience it or see it in others.
Absolutely. And you can tell that you have done this because
Mhm.
just when I was saying at the very beginning, when I spend, 10 seconds talking to you and I all of a sudden feel beautiful because you've developed that within yourself first. And then you are so easy to be able to pull that out of others and to help others recognize that too. So it's not just this thing of, oh, I want to feel beautiful so that I feel good and confident in my own self. It is such It's like you do the work for yourself first, but then what it goes out and does to the rest of the world around you and all of the people that you interact with. Like, I know most of your interactions with people are beautiful interactions because that's what you've pulled out of yourself and what you see and pull out of other people. So, it's not a vain thing to think these beautiful things about yourself. It's actually really, really good for us collectively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Ah, that's so beautiful how you put that. That's so true.
But that's
And
exactly
that's
what I
the
feel from
truth of
you.
it.
So, it's
Yeah.
a testament. Like, do the work because not only do you get to feel good physically, you get to just feel good socially and interactively with all of these other people that you get to
Mhm.
interact with and come in contact with. It's really quite
Yeah.
beautiful, for lack of a better word.
I know. We're talking about it really does, because yeah, you get to see it so much more in everyone else. And the thing is, others get to experience you, but you get to experience more of that love yourself.
Yeah.
Think about it. When you love someone else, you get to experience that love and that feeling of love way more than they do.
Yes.
And and that's the beautiful part about it. And yeah, when you do have this for yourself, you can't help but want everyone else to have it. And you begin to recognize, okay, and I remember it was a process for me. I was very, it was after my second divorce, and I questioned everything about myself. It was so devastating. And so I had to kind of start, I had to really look at myself, and I always thought that I was confident, but I had such a ways to go,
Yeah.
and I remember this work for myself when I first was starting to lean into this and think, oh wow, how could I be? How could I be delightful? How could I be charming? Am I charming? And do people want to be around me all the time? And I really had to look at these things for myself and deepen them. And I had a really great friend, a coach who she directed me to the Clifton Top 5 Strengths.
Mm,
And so even for me, it started with me looking outside of myself first for that validation, right? What are the Clifton Top 5 Strengths telling me my strengths are? But it was at least a starting point, and
absolutely.
for me, yeah, and actually my top strength is positivity.
I can relate.
Yeah, you can relate. And it was like positivity, and I think strategic, and there are a few different, and I thought, wow, how, and that really helped me, because they say, Clifton strengths are scientifically proven and millions of people have taken it. And so just to have that validation to start from, even if you're not knowing where to start, and that's how it is for many women that I work with. Like, it starts from the outside, me pointing out to them, well, you don't even see this, because I see it,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be able to see it if I didn't develop it first within myself and work to develop and see those things within me. And that's why I can see them in everyone else.
I like that. I like too that you mentioned getting that outside perspective because sometimes we're told so much, shut it off, shut it off. We talk about the David, chip away everything that isn't you. But sometimes those outside things are helpful as a starting point.
Mhm.
And even I love personality tests. I love, the Enneagram. I love human design. I love the Myers-Briggs, everything. I don't take all of it as 100% true. I like it because it becomes kind of like an investigative tool where I can take these things and say, okay, I answered this, it gave me this result. Does that feel true to me? Or where does that feel true? Or is that something that I do have, but I've maybe stifled a little bit and I could work to develop maybe that skill or that talent a little bit more. And then it just kind of becomes this fun process of awareness and reflection, but you can start with that outside voice and those outside things coming in, and then you make it more of an internal process. So, not saying that you need to completely like shut off the entire world and just go inward only. There is value outside as well if you're able to then take it inward, which I think is what you did. And that's really cool.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's so beautiful. Yes, and also compliments. So many times we as women brush off a compliment. We do not receive compliments and
Yes.
understanding how to receive them. Are we receiving them fully? You know, and I believe that compliments are many times it's a validation from universe, from the God, reminding us of who we are. Because so
I
many
like that.
times, yeah, and so many times we won't accept them, we won't receive them as women.
Yeah.
We need to learn to receive them and
Yes.
think about them,
I
you
think
know.
that that could be even a cool reflection or a journaling thing, right? Why is it uncomfortable for me to accept these compliments? That's
Mhm.
actually a challenge that I gave myself a number of years ago was I'm no longer going to fight compliments. I
Yes.
also gave myself the challenge of not feeling like I had to reciprocate a compliment. I think we do that sometimes too,
Mhm.
where if we do get complimented, we feel
Mhm.
like we need to say something back to that person,
Right.
compliment them too.
Mhm.
And the way that I did this was simply thank you.
Mhm.
And it was
Thank
so hard.
you.
It was so hard to accept a compliment and just say thank you and
Yeah.
then stop. Full stop right
Right.
there. Not, I need to compliment you. I need to tell you that I actually got this on sale or like downplay things, right? We do that all the time. Just a simple thank you. It didn't mean I had to believe it. That
Mhm.
came later. Just receiving it. The belief can come later. The acceptance can come later. So that's a challenge to you. I think that's a beautiful place to start with this is just learning to receive a compliment is huge.
Yes, and know that it's true
Yeah.
about yourself. And
Yes.
yeah.
Because think of the people in your life that are probably giving you those compliments, right? A lot of times it's a partner, someone in your family, a best friend, an acquaintance. Most people don't say a lot of the things they're thinking. Think of all the positive things that you've thought about a
Mhm.
person before. You've
Mhm.
maybe voiced those out loud 10% of the time, maybe.
Yep. It's
So
so
if
true.
so if a
Yeah.
person is taking time to actually say something about you,
Mhm.
rather than downplaying it, rather than brushing it off, you
Mhm.
can think about it through like that person's lens. I trust this person. I
Yeah.
believe this person. I don't think
Mhm.
they would lie to me. I don't, right? And you can kind of start,
Yeah.
again, it's more like dissecting these things around, but instead of just the quick brush off of, oh, that's absolutely not true about me, right? This
Mhm.
person thought a
Yes.
nice thing about me and shared it with me. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Yes. Yep. Yes. And even sometimes taking those a little further, something I teach is turning your those compliments into affirmations
Ooh,
about yourself.
I
You know,
really like that.
yeah, so deepen that even further.
Yes. Yes, it's again taking those outside things, right, and then making it internal. Someone
Mhm.
sees this about me and then turning that into, oh,
Yeah.
oh, that is so good. I love
But
that.
yeah, even if at first you can't believe it about yourself, somebody else recognized it about you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And even making that sometimes with affirmations because they can feel I used to struggle with them when it felt like just making an I am statement that felt like I was lying, like that I was just saying lies into a mirror or something.
Yeah.
And and so I started being like, okay, how could I make this? And so instead of like I am this, I would say I am working on this.
Oh, yeah.
Or And so even with that, saying like, people see this in me,
Mm-hmm.
right? That can
Yeah.
still be an affirmation that you're
Mm-hmm.
then working towards. And you'll say it and say it and say it. And all of a sudden one day you'll just say it as I am this.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be like, oh, wow, I actually believe that. That's really cool. And it's just these little baby steps. So I love turning
Mhm.
those into affirmations. That's a really, really cool tool.
Yeah, because yes, and to me, what can it hurt for you to feel more vibrant, for you to feel more radiant, for you to feel more beautiful, you know?
It's
And
not.
it, yes, it can't hurt. And it's so much better than feeling not good enough, not pretty, not the right size, not the right, just and instead, why not focus on everything that's beautiful, and
Absolutely.
recognizing and then it kind of trickles out to everything else, even situations, and how can this experience be good for me, how can this be a beautiful experience. And I created a becoming vision board this year, and one of my words for it is exquisite. My becoming word for the year is beauty, and then my three definitions are exquisite, tranquil, and compassionate.
Mm,
And the affirmation that I have for exquisite is, with every change, I become an ever more exquisite being. So it's just like embracing that even further, like, okay, I'm becoming, through this hard thing, through this challenge, through whatever change, I'm becoming more exquisite. It's making me more exquisite, more, deepening who I am, helping me to learn
yes.
more and
Oh, I love it. I'm actually going to go back to the flower analogy because I've been seeing it as, you plant a seed
Mhm.
has to completely deconstruct and fall apart. And if you think about that, like,
Oh,
if you
that's
are the actual seed, like that has
true.
to be incredibly painful to just like burst open, everything falls off, and then you have to transform into something completely different, but it becomes so beautiful. And then I'm thinking about some of my perennials that are coming back this year that they did not do well last year. They struggled a lot and they are popping up and they are so full and so beautiful. And I've been thinking about that, about all of the hard work that had to go on. They really struggled last year, and maybe someone wouldn't have walked past them and been like, that's a beauty. But they were working really hard. And then they went dormant in the winter, they were underground, and they are coming back full fledged. And I think about that with every change, I'm becoming more exquisite because they were. And those changes probably weren't very beautiful. They probably weren't very awesome. They probably didn't feel very good. But
Mhm.
with each change, it's becoming more exquisite. And I think that if we can think about that of ourselves, and I love that saying that you have, how beautiful that is, and just
Mhm.
what cool words to continue to put on yourself.
Yeah, yes, because I just think I want to be more tranquil. Why can't I be? Why is that
Yeah.
something inside of me? Why can't I be more compassionate? And focus on those things. Okay, how do I become more compassionate? How can I become more of that in the
Yes.
world?
Oh,
And become more tranquil. Like it can only help. It can only help all of us to think this way, to believe this way, and
yes.
and to work on becoming and focusing.
Speaking of becoming, I want to ask you about you gave me a term called dream girls.
Mhm.
And what does that mean? And how do we become our own dream girl?
Yeah, so I think that so many times, again, we look outside of us and think, oh, she's someone's dream girl, or
Yep.
she's whatever our perception of a dream girl is. But we are our own dream girls. And think about how, like, what does a dream girl mean to you? What does a dream girl do? And if you even, because we think it's outside of us, but if we just start with going, okay, to me, this is what a dream girl does. This is how she behaves. This is how she dresses. This is how she lives. It's almost like building that relationship with your future self. If you
Okay.
don't already believe that you're that, and then working from there, and building up that internal self and that relationship with yourself, and being your own best friend. And it's so much of being your own dream girl starts with being your own best friend, having your own back,
Mm,
not going to those negative sides, that instant thought of, oh man, I really messed up, and I haven't done a good job. But then your dream girl would be like, no, but look at what you have done,
Yeah.
and look at how good you're doing here. So how do we shift now to make it work here?
Yeah.
And let's keep going, and your dream girl will always see you as your highest,
I love that.
and so yeah, and she always sees you as your highest. She only wants the very best for you. She sets her boundaries. And so just even you, the thing is that all of these things that we talked about, with building these attributes, that's being your own dream girl. Because if you do that for yourself and you're becoming your dream girl, you're
Hmm.
building those attributes and those virtues about yourself, that internal beauty, that intrinsic part of yourself. You're making it a part of you and who you are. And so
Yes.
that is becoming your own dream girl. And for yourself, not what anybody else tells you that you are or that you want, but you decide. You decide, what does my dream girl look like? For me, she's exquisite, she's tranquil, she's compassionate. And so what does that mean for me? So I literally went on Google and and looked up the definitions of those words and looked up affirmations around those, to learn more and more. Okay, what feels good to me? What does this mean for me? And then
Yes.
just, building that just for myself, and um just really learning to have my own back. I think
Mm,
it's so huge, that is having your own back,
yep.
working to build yourself up rather than tear yourself down.
Yes. So I wanted to ask you then, do you have a process that you follow for this? Because you said, I'm becoming her. I have these top three qualities that I want. Do you walk yourself through something at like the beginning of the year to do this, or do you journal? Or like if I'm someone who's listening and I say, yeah, I want to develop qualities in myself, or I want to picture this dream girl of me, do you have a process that you kind of do for yourself or for
Yeah.
others?
Yeah. So yeah, it begins with looking at how I speak to myself. So what I say, and then that affects what I think. So how am I speaking to myself? How am I thinking about myself? And that affects how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I do. So the action that I take. So it's looking at how I'm speaking to myself, and how I'm first how I see myself. So beginning to recognize, you know, and look at the different qualities and think, oh, could I be charming? Am I charming? In what ways am I charming? In
Yeah.
what ways am I pretty? And like I said, pointing out what's your favorite physical attribute is a lot of times we'll ask women, and oh yeah, I do have really pretty eyes, and I do have, and even then working on parts of myself that I don't like, physical and internal, spiritual parts that maybe I'm working on, but then also looking at those and loving them and working to love those parts of myself that I've been avoiding,
Yep.
or parts of my physical appearance that I always not liked, and being like no, and loving my body fully, being grateful for my body that it got me here, and really, because there were so many parts of myself that growing up, I never felt beautiful. I never felt like I belonged or fit in so many ways, in so many instances throughout my life. And so really looking at those things, and I had to tell myself, no, like my feet really aren't ugly. Like my feet hold me up, and my feet, get me around. And I'm so grateful for my feet, or my nose. Like I have really big nostrils, and like, just being like, well, I love my nose, or just
Yep.
just it sounds so silly, but little things like that. And
It
just
is. Yeah.
appreciating myself and working
Absolutely.
my
That's funny that you say that because I have always not appreciated or loved my nose at all. And a couple of years ago, I actually went and got a nose piercing. And I was like, I'm going to highlight a part of myself that I have tried very hard to forget and to just, contour away or do all these things. And instead, I went the exact opposite route. And I'm like, I'm going to highlight this. And
Mhm.
that was a really cool shift to
Yeah.
highlight something that had been for years
Yeah.
and years and years something that I had not loved at all.
Mhm.
And then it was interesting the things that it was able to do for me as well, because it's definitely a genetic thing. And I'm like, this is the nose that, my family has and my grandfather has and all of these things. And
Mhm.
instead of finding something wrong with it, I was able to then embrace a lot of beauty and actually celebrate. So it's kind of
Yeah.
neat when you can shift that perspective a little bit. Like you said, like,
Yeah.
no, my feet take me places. They help me be here. Like without them, I would be wheelchair bound, or I would have to have all of these other different things to help me just do what I get to do naturally. And
Mhm.
just even shifting that perspective can be um not easy, but a really simple thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And to recognize, like, just because maybe my nose isn't conventionally beautiful. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
there's so much beauty in diversity. And if you think about nature, the energy that holds nature together is love. And nature makes room for everything.
Mhm.
Nature makes room for every variation. It's all beautiful. It's all beauty. And
Yes.
yes, like you said, your nose is a part of you. It's your heritage. It's your family. It's beautiful.
Yes. And
And
it's so funny in nature, those are the differences, and the thing, like the quirky things are the things that we love. Right?
mhm.
I've been hiking before and I see a tree and I'm like, this one is different from all the other ones. This one's got, this weird curve to it or all these different things. And it's those things that we love and celebrate. And I'm like, oh, if we can bring that into like ourselves, like, and
Yes,
shift away from, like you said, conventional. What is conventional even? Like,
exactly.
we need to just get away from that and celebrate ourselves. And as we do, we're able to then live kind of like forgetting about ourselves a little bit and just live our lives, really.
Mhm. Yes, it's so true. And we're able to see the beauty and diversity. And
Yeah.
that's what's beautiful is diversity. Not everyone looking the same, trying to
Mhm.
look like the same person. That's actually really scary,
Yeah.
when you think about it. And so if we can just start to shift our lens towards ourselves, our lens shifts for everyone else too.
Yep.
And we
Yeah.
get to see that. And like you said, we take care of ourselves in these ways so that we can pour out, so that we can be present. I was talking with someone about this and I said, the reason that I take time to do my hair, do my makeup. And by the way, I actually don't like getting ready. I've never liked to. I went on TikTok and figured out a 20-minute makeup routine because I was like, I have 20 minutes
Yep.
tops 15, 20 minutes tops, half an hour total with hair and makeup. That's all I want to spend on getting ready in my day. And
Mhm.
so I figured it out. And because it's important to me, because I notice when I don't take care of myself in these ways, I'm closed off. When I go out, I'm not open. I'm not pouring out. I don't want to see people. I'm not
Yep.
as friendly or talking to people face to face as much because I haven't taken care of myself. And when I do this, I can forget about myself. I'm taken care of. And
Yeah.
so when I go out, right, and then we can focus on we're not even thinking about ourselves, which is the best.
Yeah.
We're
It's
not
really interesting how these things that seem selfish, right? They
Mhm.
can seem selfish at first glance. This taking care of ourselves and getting dressed and doing our makeup and all of these things, they're actually the exact opposite, right? Because when you're not feeling your best, you are closed off. You're not having interactions with people. You're not showing off this bright, shiny, authentic part of yourself.
Yep.
So the things that maybe seem like, oh, I don't have time for myself, or oh, that's super selfish, it's actually the exact opposite.
It's the exactly, yes, that's exactly the point. Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the exact opposite. But we've been conditioned to just believe that and especially as women, right?
Yep.
With self-sacrifice, we have our value by taking care of others. That's our value.
Yes.
Not
Yep.
just that we're valuable because we exist, that we're here.
Absolutely. You spoke about actions.
Mhm.
we went from thoughts to feelings, emotions, actions. And one of the actions that you do is helping us dress and our appearance.
Mhm.
And I am one to say, hi, motherhood has done a number on me with knowing like I'm just getting older, right? Like I'm not Gen Z. I'm in this like weird phase of do I get to wear band t-shirts or am I dressed up, and finding your own personal style. And we can definitely get lost in that. So if you're thinking that I'm this perfect person who's got it all figured out, I will be right here to tell you, no, I actually don't. And I love that this is a way that you're helping us express ourselves and show up, because you offer styling for people. And I
Mhm.
definitely need to come and see you. Um, but, but I
Yeah,
think
or
that
I'll
that's
come
really
see you.
interesting. We don't think about that our clothes and the things that we get dressed in matter as much. And that can be tricky to kind of figure that out. So,
Mhm.
what have you loved about styling and the changes that you see in women?
Yeah, so yeah, a lot of women believe it's frivolous.
Hmm.
It's not necessary. Clothes are just, it doesn't matter what we put on, but truly clothes and dress are tools that can further help us to be embodied in who we are,
Yeah.
and a representation, showing up as our true authentic selves and feeling as our true authentic selves. And like you said, it shifts the energy.
Yep.
It shifts our energy we take care of ourselves in this way. We do want to pour out. And um so many women, it has been, I have a client too. I think this is the it was such a compliment, but her husband told her I'm the best thing to happen to her since him. And and just her confidence, because she just had never seen herself in the way that I helped her to see herself. I don't know if that
Yeah.
makes sense. And
Nope.
and um and in the physical sense, because she just didn't understand how to dress her body.
Yeah.
And so many women, they don't like getting dressed because they don't know how to dress their bodies.
Yeah. I'm
They
in that camp. It's okay if you are in that camp. Like, it's
Yeah, it's
okay.
okay. Yes, and but you can learn, you know,
Yeah.
and you don't necessarily have to get a stylist to learn that, you can just take time. I certainly love to help women to recognize and see that. It's my gift. I love it. I I love it. I I can't say that enough, and it doesn't just have to do with fashion. I do love fashion, but I love to just help women see, oh, if I just with proportions, wear this a little bit higher, this like, oh, there's my waist. Somebody would tell me, oh, I didn't know I had a waist. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, here it is, and or think that they can wear certain things. So many women think that they can't dress a certain way, but they
Mhm.
just don't know how, or that they can't, like I said, it's like things that are outside of them. They don't believe that they can have that for themselves. They don't believe that they can dress every day and enjoy it and love it and
Yeah.
feel more of who they are because of how they're dressed,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know? And
And my
so,
thing here is I'll go back to something that I always talk about is starting small. I think with this, we think we need a whole complete overhaul, that we need to completely rip out our entire closet and go spend thousands and thousands of dollars on getting everything new. You can
mm-mm.
start so small. You can go buy one thing that makes you feel really good, and you can
Mhm.
try something, and it's okay if it doesn't work. Like,
Mhm. It's okay. And
yeah,
yeah, and I actually start with your own closet. When I start working with my clients, we start with their closet and we go through and try everything on, every single piece, to show what is working, what they
yeah,
have that's there, because there's no reason to go buy new if you already have something that's in your closet that fits you well. And
yes.
so, yeah, and the other thing is,
How
so many women order online and don't try things on. Not that shopping online is bad, but
I cannot do that.
okay, good, good. Because
I am
it just,
not that person.
yeah, and it just, I think just kind of take a step back when you're thinking that you're in a rush to shop, or that you need something. Kind of just take a moment to go, why am I feeling like I need this or need this? Like, it just take a moment to step back. Don't rush into buying things. Really, if I could get everyone to just try everything on, but I know that's, so much online shopping and it's so easy. But I also have so many clients who they order online and then they forget to return it. So then it's just
Mhm.
wasteful.
Yes.
It goes to
Yes.
be donated rather than it being purposeful and something that's going to serve them. And, you
I
know,
love what you just said there, purposeful, because oh, I just got done with a podcast interview with someone else about talking about living less out of habit and less on autopilot and more
Mhm,
intentional and purposefully.
mhm,
Yes, it is so easy to click purchase, add to cart, all of these things on Amazon or whatever, wherever you're shopping.
mhm,
And then, like you said, forgetting to return it, and then it sits in your closet forever. And then, I mean, everything we have has, I won't get super woo, but it has energy, and that's pulling
mhm,
energy that's just not giving good out into you and your closet and all of these things. So it might take more time to go to a store and to try stuff on, and you might walk in with 50 things and walk out with zero and feel really, really defeated. But if
mhm,
you are purposeful in that, like, make it like shift your whole mindset around it, right? Why am I in a hurry to buy this? Why is this? And just go make it a day. Today is about me, and I'm going to go try on some clothes today. And if I come home with some that make me feel amazing, great. And if I don't, great. I took some time for myself to learn about myself, to spend a day with me, to do all of this. And just like, it's seriously amazing what your mindset shift can do
mhm.
for this. And then you're taking time for yourself because you matter
Mhm.
and because it's
Yeah.
important, not because I'm
Yeah.
trying to fill up my closet with more options that I'm never actually going to wear.
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
as
And
someone who hates online shopping, I'm so glad you said go try it on. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. I'm not weird.
yes, no, you're not. Because so many times what we're doing when we're hitting click is we're looking for that dopamine hit of having
Yes.
something new. And you don't need that. And even for me, like if you look at my styling reels, like I'm not like a lot of my foundational pieces are always the same bags, shoes, denim, like, and not showing brand new things every time
Mm,
that I've bought or that I have or that I'm styling. It's just because you don't need to buy a lot of things to have a great wardrobe. You don't have to have a lot. And start with what you have. That's being abundant. You already have so much. And
mm,
a lot of times I think with consumerism, we're looking for the dopamine hit and we're in scarcity. We're in scarcity somewhere, that we need this outside thing to feel a certain way is a lot of times. And I know this because that's how I used to be. That's how I used to shop.
yep.
And so, and so, and so I know that at least for myself, that was true. And it's just been, and even having a boutique, I probably sound crazy that I'm not like, come shop, shop, shop. But but even for me, if someone comes in and something doesn't fit them, I will not sell it to them.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit them right because it's not going to serve them. The
Yes.
point is that they come here and they have a piece that they're going to wear again and again. They're going to feel good in. It's going to give them
Yes.
energy. Hmm.
Oh, I love it so much. This conversation has been so filling and refreshing, and I've just loved it so much. And if you are someone who's like, how do I get more? I want to just come and like sit next to you because just I feel good when I'm with you and I want you to help me dress and just all of these things. Where are all of the places, either if we're local to Utah, where we can find you, or if we're not, where we can connect with you and learn more?
Well, you can find me on Instagram. Thank you so much at Pualei. So it's Pualei Lynn, Pualeilynn. And go there. I would say that's the best place to find me and reach out is on Instagram. And
Perfect. And
yeah.
she has the cutest bouquet ever, Shop Eden K, which has an event space behind it where not only do you have this beautiful boutique full of these clothes that are just amazing and you help women dress in them, but you also have this event space that you not only do events for yourself, you talked about your women's group Elevate, but I've been to multiple events there, sound baths, different things that are so amazing. So I love so much that you have poured into yourself so that you can pour out into others. And I hope that we're taking that as a great example of that we all have that within inside of us too. And this has just been one of my favorite conversations. So thank you.
Thank you so much. This, thank you. I don't have words. And I'm so grateful. Thank you and I learned so much from you through this interview, and thank you so much. I'm so grateful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just thank you for being who you are, and for creating this podcast, and just for what you put out, and just developing yourself. Because I love to be able to have conversations like this and to be around women. Like you said, I feel good being with you too, because it's reciprocal.
Yes.
And we both can understand that, and I feel like be in that energy, which is it's different when you can be with women who
It is.
we're in that place. And
It is. It is. And it is within each of you listening too. I know when I've had conversations, if you DM or in person, whatever, I love when we're able to have these conversations and these connections. So again, for lack of better word, this has just been beautiful. Thank you for hanging out with me again today. I'm so glad you pressed play. If you want to take a quick second to share this episode with someone you think would love it too, that would be amazing. If you're loving the show, make sure you go and leave a review on iTunes. Reviews are like magic for podcasts, and your review will help get this show into the ears of more amazing women just like you. And come find me over on Instagram. I'm there at positively.jessie, and I cannot wait to hang out with you some more. So until next time, have an amazing week.